Cresswell art students. So this week we are working on designing a virtual locker. So when you open the assignment, this is what is going to pop up in your web browser. You should already be signed in to Microsoft Office 365 if you went through Clever Portal. It will save all of your work, so you won't have to worry about that. So if you don't get it all done in one sitting, you can always come back and work on it again. So this is my example of if I had a locker, what I would be making. So I've got some things that will tell you information about me. You can see I love Starbucks. I added hand sanitizer and a mask because that's probably going to be something that if we have lockers in the future, we're going to have in our locker. I've got the moon because I think that the moon is really cool and I like learning about it. I have a poster from my favorite band, which is Rilo Kiley. I've got a backpack down here with a laptop and my sketchbook in it. I've got just some books for school, classes, whatever. Some headphones, a little unicorn plushie because I love unicorns. A mascot from the college that I went to, an octopus little sticker up here, some sticky notes, markers, and Wonder Woman because I think she's cool. So you're going to be designing your own version of this. So as you go through the slides, these are your directions for how to do it, and these are the directions for if you want to add an object that isn't already in the slide for you to choose from. So the next two slides are your locker options. They're just the ones that I was able to make for you. So you're just going to pick one of these and you're going to drag or copy and paste the objects that you want from the rest of the slides here. So if you see all those slides there, that's what you're going to get your images from. Now there's also a way that you can add your own images, and I will go over that as well. So let's look at some of our options. So some of these things that have multiple objects in them, if you only want part of it, like you only want this orange backpack, you can go ahead and you can crop that picture. So if you double click on it, this whole new bar up here pops up, and you can click crop right here, and then you can just drag these black lines to only fit the part of the picture that you want. Drag it out just a little bit more, and then you can click crop. And now I've got just that orange backpack. All right. So resizing objects, this is making them bigger or smaller so that they kind of look like they fit and make sense in your locker. For example, I probably don't want my phone in my locker to be bigger than my backpack. So with the object highlighted, and that means that you've got these squares around it, if I put my cursor or my mouse over this arrow, you see that now I get a black arrow that goes diagonally both directions. So I'm actually going to hold the shift key on my keyboard as I pull that out, and now that's going to readjust the size of that backpack. Okay? If you do not hold the shift key, you can change and distort the image, and we don't want that because then it's not going to look like your backpack anymore. So it's important that when you're resizing those objects, you hold that shift key, because that makes it change size at the same rate all the way around instead of getting wider or skinnier or longer. All right, so once you have objects that you want to put into your locker, so let's say I want to put this little banner in my locker. Again, I'm going to click on it with my mouse. And there's a couple different ways you can copy these. So I can right click Control on my keyboard. That happens to be the same key that shows you the focus screen with the mouse that I'm using, but yours won't do that. So if you right click your mouse and click on an object, this little thing is going to come up. So these are all your different options. So you can click copy here if you want. Notice over here that you also have this these symbols. Now I'm on a Mac, so my symbols are a little bit different than what you're gonna see, but basically that's the keyboard shortcut. So instead of having to click on it, right click and then click copy, you could actually just highlight it and then type this shortcut in your keyboard. Yours for Windows is gonna be Control C. So if you look on your keyboard down by the space bar, you should have a key that says Control. So you're going to push that and then the letter C at the same time on your keyboard, and that's going to copy your image for you. Sorry, I stepped on a dog toy. That's what you heard. I'm getting my charger to charge my laptop so it doesn't die while I'm making the video. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click copy. I'm going to go back up to the locker template that I've selected, and I'm going to either right click, and click paste, or again, I could use my keyboard shortcut. So I could click Control V, and that's going to also paste that image into your locker. Now again, I can resize this image, but if I want to resize it, I need to hold that shift key so that I'm resizing it at the same ratio and I don't mess up my proportions. So I'm going to make this smaller. Sorry, my dog is being a little talkative. And I'm going to just resize it until it looks like it fits inside my locker there. To move an object, you can just click on it and then move your mouse in the trackpad to move that object wherever you want. When your object is really tiny, sometimes it's hard to get it exactly where you want. So if your object is highlighted, you can actually just use the arrow keys on your keypad, your keyboard, to move that object where you want it exactly to get it all nice and precise. All right, so the next thing, let's look at if I want to put in some books into my locker. So maybe I want to put this stack of books. So again, I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to use one of my ways to copy. I'm going to either Control C, or I'm going to right click and select copy. And then I'm going to click Control V, or I'm going to right click and paste those books. Now they seem a little big to me, so I'm going to go ahead and resize them to fit in my locker. I want them to just kind of hang out in that back corner of my locker. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to overlap something. So the original templates that I got had pillows, and I thought it was kind of weird to have a pillow in your locker, but also they're kind of cute, so I figured I would leave them, and some of you may want to put a pillow in your locker, who knows. So I'm going to resize this again, so I'm just holding that shift button while I pull the corner of that pillow. So I'm holding shift, and then with my mouse I'm just resizing that. I'm actually using the trackpad part of my mouse, so kind of that square space above your where you click your mouse. So I'm going to put it right there. Now it looks kind of weird because it's not like set, it's just like straight up and down. So if you'll look, you see this little arrow, kind of half circle arrow. That's what you click on to rotate something. So when your mouse is on it, notice that if I take my mouse off of it, I now have these directional arrows. That means that I can move that object. But if I put my mouse on it, on the little half circle arrow, that shows up bigger on top of it. And that's telling me that it's ready for it to be moved. So now I can click and rotate that object wherever I want. Again, I'm just using that trackpad part of my mouse to kind of rotate that pillow wherever I want it. The next thing I'm going to show you is arranging objects. So if we're putting a lot of objects into our locker here, we are going to want some of them to overlap each other and kind of give us that feeling of depth, like something is in front of something else. So I'm going to go ahead and paste this backpack. Oops, sorry. I'm going to paste that backpack in my slide that I want. I'm going to hold my shift key. I'm going to resize it, and I'm just going to click it and drag it over here. So notice that when it's clicked, if I just hold my trackpad, I can just move it. So it's automatically putting it in front of those books, but maybe I want my backpack to be behind my books. Let me go ahead and make it a little bigger. So maybe I want this backpack to be behind my books because now it's covering all my books up. So I'm going to click that object, and then up here you should see something similar to this. We all may have a little bit different version of PowerPoint, and this is PowerPoint Online, so that's where yours should open, so it should be pretty similar. But you want to look for something that says arrange or position, and you notice that it's got these little squares, and it's kind of showing you, okay, these two squares are in front of that one. So this is how we're going to arrange our objects. So when you come over here, you notice that you've got reorder, reorder overlapping, bring to front, send to back, bring forward, send backward. So what I'm going to do, I don't want to send it all the way to the back. If you send all the way to the back, then it's going to be behind your locker picture, and we're not even going to be able to see it. So you want to go to send backward, just one. So sending it to the back will kind of take it through all of the different objects that are in your slide, and sending backward just pushes it back one. So I'm going to go ahead and click that, and notice that it just put it behind my pillow. So I may need to do that again. I may need to do send backward one more time. And now you can kind of see my books are in front of that backpack. And I'm going to go ahead and move it up just a little bit, just so that it looks like these books are really in front of it. And if I actually bring these books a little closer to the front of my locker, it's going to look even more like these books are closer to us than this backpack. So we're creating that sense of depth, that illusion of depth. My students that have been in my class before, I know that you are familiar with this. My new 5th graders, whenever we're working on a 2D surface, which this is 2D, it's flat. I can't actually grab this pillow out of my computer screen. But whenever we're working in a 2D surface, we create the illusion that things are further back than other things by where we place them in our picture. So by putting these books closer to the bottom of my page, they now look like they are closer to you. By putting this backpack higher up, it now looks further away. Same thing with putting these in front of or overlapping this backpack. We now get the sense that these are in front of us and that this locker actually is taking up and going back in space, even though it's really not. Okay? So that's kind of how you add your objects. That's how you resize them, how you rotate them, and how you arrange those objects. So your job is going to be going through all of these slides and picking out things to put in your locker that are going to tell me things about you. So if we start looking, some of these are just for fun and cutesy decorations, but some of them do have more of meanings and things that are going to tell me something about you. For example, this PlayStation controller might tell me that you like to play video games. Books, maybe you have a lot of books in your locker because you really love reading. Some of these posters, maybe you really like Minecraft or Fortnite. Maybe some of the social and racial things going on in our world right now are really important to you, and you want to put a poster in there about Black Lives Matter. Maybe you think it's really important to be kind to everybody. So all of these different things that you can add that are going to tell me things about you. But again, some of them are just cutesy stuff that you can put in there. And then also you've got some stuffed animals. I know some of these are like little kids, but maybe one of these books was your favorite when you were a kid and you still kind of have that nostalgic place in your heart for it. You've got some different plushies, some Pokemon, some basketball Legos, just some general stuffed animals, some action figures here. You've got some Harry Potter ones, some comic book ones, baseball, rainbow fish. If you play any sports, you can add those as well. And then I tried to put some to kind of show what your arts class is. So I've got some music instruments. I've got some theater makeup here because I really couldn't think of what to show for theater. Some canvas and paintbrushes, some ballet shoes, an apron, AirPods. So it's just some different things to kind of represent your arts. Favorite foods and drinks. I tried to find some that I know students at our school really like. I know we're really into Takis and hot Cheetos and stuff like that. And then animals. These could be your favorite animal. It could look like an animal that you have. Maybe you have a fish or something at home. Obviously, we probably would not ever have that in our locker. But if you put it in your locker, that could just be you telling me that you have a fish or a hamster or gerbil or something at home. Or it could just be, maybe your favorite animal is a butterfly and you want to put the butterfly in there. All right? So those are all the different things that I have provided for you to put in your locker. The next video is going to be showing you how to put objects in your locker that are not already in these slides for you. So if that's something, maybe you really don't play PlayStation, but you play Xbox. Or maybe you want to find a movie poster that's your favorite movie or your favorite band instead of the kind of ones I just picked out. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do next. So that will be in the next video. All right, thank you.